Welcome to We Are Soccer. Today, I'm joined by physical therapist Julie Hubbard. She is an NSCA certified strength and conditioning specialist. Julie, you've also acquired your certifications in dry needling for orthopedic rehabilitation and sports performance, sports metrics, ACL injury prevention, selective function movement assessment, and personalized blood flow restriction. You've got a lot of certifications, a lot of knowledge in this stuff. So thank you for joining. I'm looking forward to talking to you.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, Craig.
All right. So I know you're a former Division I soccer player. You've played at a really high level, but you suffered some ACL injuries. Is that correct?
That is very correct. Yep. I played 2 seasons at Penn State, and then I transferred to UConn. I got another 2 healthy seasons, a couple of unhealthy seasons. And now at the age of 32, I have had 4 ACL injuries as well. So
Four. Ouch. How many on the left and the right knees?
on the left, and then my most recent one was on the right.
Ouch. And you still continue to come back, and are you playing still?
I'm not playing. No, I coach. I have found joy in now coaching on the sidelines and jumping into a couple of rondos here and there. But the beer league thing is not for me right now.
No, understood. Absolutely understood. Well, it's because of those injuries, I understand, that you decided to go into the field of sports medicine. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, I got my doctorate in physical therapy in 2018.
Very nice. That is awesome. All right. So is the ACL, the injury, the most common injury you're seeing these days, or is there another injury that's more common than that in young athletes specifically?
So I've actually started my own practice in Framingham, Massachusetts, which specializes in ACL injury. So for me, I would say about 90% of my caseload is ACL athletes. The majority of them are female athletes, but it is by far the most common thing that I'm seeing.
Why is that the more common injury for female athletes? We've seen a couple of those as the Women's World Cup is going on now. We've seen a couple of players in the last 6 months who've had those and had to miss the World Cup. But why is it that in the female athlete, soccer players specifically, the ACL injury happens more often than not?
So, I mean, female athletes are 6 to 8 times more predisposed to the injury, and it can be for a number of things. Anatomically speaking, women have wider hips, a larger Q angle, smaller ligament size, smaller intercondylar notch, increased ligamentous laxity, menstrual cycles, hormones. There are a lot of things that can play into it. I'm a little bit more fascinated in some of the things that we can actually control. So like female athletes just not being in the gym as much as their counterparts and not, learning how to move at an early age or, getting access to the sports science resources that males do. So, I mean, all of that's the convoluted answer of why it's more common in women, but it definitely is much more common in female athletes.
Is it among female athletes more common in soccer players, or are you seeing a lot in basketball and other sports? Or is it just all across the board?
I mean, it's definitely across the board in terms of sports that involve a lot of cutting, pivoting, jumping. My practice as a former soccer player, I have a big pull with all of the club teams in the area. So I see a lot of soccer players, but I see a lot of field hockey. I think I'm a volleyball athlete. I've got some male football players, basketball. It kind of runs the gamut. Any multi-directional sport.
That makes sense. All right. So what are some kind of stretches or things people can do to help their bodies before these injuries occur to help prevent them?
Yeah, I mean, I talk about this all the time with people. I think that the injury prevention is just a fancy word for strength and conditioning. So it's literally just getting your athletes into the gym and getting them into the gym routinely, getting them comfortable into the gym, getting them on a comprehensive program where they're learning various movement patterns. They're learning how to squat, hinge, lunge, jump, bound, hop, you name it. But getting on a comprehensive program is by far the best form of injury prevention.
That makes a lot of sense. It's just building up those muscles and teaching those ligaments and muscles what's coming, right? So just to build that up. All right, if I'm a 40-year-old guy who plays in a fairly competitive co-ed league, what's something I should be doing before games and after games from a physical therapist perspective? Should I be stretching a little bit more often? Should I be not drinking too many beers afterwards? What's something you see that kind of the older athletes these days are doing wrong?
I think it's older athletes, but it's also like younger high school athletes is not giving their bodies enough time to warm up. So showing up early, going through a dynamic warm up, dynamic stretching, slowly increasing your intensity, running, sprinting, jumping before the game, so that when you're then forced into those scenarios on the field, you're able to handle them. And then after the game, definitely taking some time to cool down. Static stretching at the end is great. I know it gets a lot of shade for whatever reason, but taking 5-10 minutes to sit down and stretch can really make a world of difference.
That makes a lot of sense. I got to be honest. So growing up, I did a lot of static stretching. In my teens and 20s, I was playing at a high level, and we all did static stretching because that's what the only thing we knew back then. And then I got into a really competitive level. It's soccer in my early 30s, and they did a dynamic warm up, and it was all new to me. And it actually soaked the energy out of me. It was bizarre. I had to convince the coach to let me do static stretching by myself, but it is new. It's how your body gets used to things as well. So, but what I see a lot of these days is, as I play in these older leagues, these beer leagues, people are just not stretching afterwards. And you're right, getting there beforehand, doing some sort of stretching instead of just jumping in and going 100 miles an hour will probably prevent a lot of injuries.
Yeah, I mean, and it's as simple as spending 5 minutes. It doesn't need to be a big structured 30-minute warm up. Just like if you go to the gym, you should spend a couple minutes warming your body up, getting ready for what you're about to do, and then same on the tail end, just calming the body down, stretching a little bit, and then jumping in the car to go home.
Half the injuries these days are, I would say, I don't want to say preventable, but it's also a little bit of a mind. It screws up the people's minds, the athletes' minds. They're afraid to get back onto the field after that injury's occurred. How do you help an athlete psychologically deal with the injury that they've had and help them get back to being the best on the field that they were?
Yeah, I mean, that is an understatement, I think. I would say that, if 90% of my caseload is ACLs, 90% of my caseload is probably struggling mentally. These injuries are season ending, sometimes career ending. You're being sidelined for months on end. A lot of these kids struggle. So for me, it is, I can obviously be vulnerable myself and kind of, talk to them on a level of, hey, I've been there. I get what you're going through. But at the same time, having resources for them. So I've, networked with a couple of sports psychologists in the area, and I have all of their contact information, ready to go so that I can hand it out and direct patients to the appropriate resources.
That's awesome. And reading your website, you do some online, we'll call it therapy. Essentially, you have some online pieces that you help with, and your blog was super informative, by the way. So we will post that in the graphic and in the description so people can read. But what happens if I'm here in Metro Detroit? I know you're in Massachusetts. What happens if I contact you? Am I able to kind of connect with you weekly, monthly? Is there something we can set up where I could work through if I had an injury like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yep. I see people all over the country. If there is one silver lining to come out of the COVID pandemic, it is the creation of telehealth and being able to deliver services to virtually anyone. So I definitely offer telehealth assessments, telehealth follow-ups. I offer remote programming where I write people, strength and conditioning programs, and they kind of check in with me periodically. I'm definitely trying to be accessible. So if anybody has questions or wants, an assessment or a physical therapy program, I'd be more than happy to help.
That is awesome. I see every single day on Twitter. We have a lot of followers who are youth athletes, youth soccer players, and I see every day, someone's going down with an injury, and there's a picture of them after surgery, and it's most usually ACL injuries. So a lot of our followers, a lot of our viewers are going to probably end up wanting and needing someone like you for help. So that is awesome that no matter where they are located in the country, they can reach out to you and get that. That is awesome. All right. I can't let you go without asking. So you don't play anymore. You do coach, but do you watch a lot of pro level soccer at all?
I do. Yeah, I've been watching the World Cup at 3, 5, and whatever, 7 a.m., 9 p.m.
The times are not very conducive, are they, with this World Cup? It kind of
They really are.
Yeah. Do you have a specific player or a league that you enjoy watching more than anything else?
I love Messi. I'm excited that he is in the MLS. I will be for sure watching a ton of him. But one of my college classmates is on the women's national team, so I was able to watch her and cheer her on, and it was really cool.
That is awesome. It's always cool when you have someone specifically that you have a relationship with that you can kind of follow along with. That is awesome. Well, very, very cool. Listen, Julie, I really appreciate the time. We're going to have to do a check-in in a couple of months. I know once this video goes out on our socials here, people are going to have questions. They're going to want to contact you. So guys, listen, Julie knows what you're doing. Read through her website, read through her blog. Awesome, awesome information. And if you are unfortunate enough to have an ACL injury, Dr. Julie Hubbard's going to be the person for you to connect with.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Craig. I appreciate it.
No worries. Talk to you soon.